Good day, everyone. I am reporting about graduate school of the Cotabato State University in Cotabato City. This is about Education 707 Seminar on Policy Analysis Applied to Education. The background of this policy is that the nature of policymaking in the USA and globally is changing dramatically. Increased requirements for accountability at all levels of education systems necessitate not only that policy be informed by valid and reliable data, but that once implemented policies be subjected to scrutiny through systematic assessment and evaluation. What we will call in this course the new culture of accountability in education is a global phenomenon. Through global policies such as UNESCO's Education for All or Education for All, a large number of countries are currently and continuously undergoing systematic reform as a response to such global mandates. Policy analysis has become an essential tool in determining whether local policy is likely to achieve the desired goals. While policy analysis has tended to be analytical and descriptive in this course, we introduce program evaluation to policy analysis as we pursue the systematic study of the origin and characteristics of public policy and assess their effects vis-a-vis their intended outcomes. A key tool in the implementation of accountability cultures on policy effects is the assessment of policy outcomes. Assessment systems have also developed into global organizations. For instance, regarding the effect of basic education, a number of international evaluations of students' progress have shown that high achieving countries also have a more knowledgeable teaching force and a more coherent and centralized curriculum. These results, however, also show that success is heavily dependent on context, culture, and content. National policy in countries across the world has become increasingly reliant on these global trends uncovered by policy analysis and program evaluation. But how is policy made? What are the choices among several that are preferable? For whom and for what purpose? What is entailed in doing policy analysis? The idea of policy analysis relies on the assumption that policy actors need and are willing to use valid and reliable information to both design and understand the pitfalls of current policies in order to improve education. As new waves of educational reform bring about the development of innovative ways to address the many shortcomings of schooling, there is actually an increase in public interest in understanding whether and how old and current policy have had the expected results and whether the social investment in these innovations is cost and effective. Further, while for the most part, policy analysis has evolved mostly as an inquiry undertaking, it is important to explore whether and how it must take into account the crucial issues of social justice and human rights. This course is specifically designed to help doctoral students interested in education at all levels acquire the skills and abilities that are required to design sound and responsive policy analysis. Accordingly, this course will explore the conception, generation, and analysis of educational policies using as examples key education policies at the global level, such as policy directed at early childhood education, curriculum reform, teacher education, and the education of immigrant populations, among others. This course will pay particular attention to the context of policy, including the evolving conceptualization of global and local systems of government. The course will also explore the uses, limitations, and ethics of policy analysis. The course will also provide students with elementary knowledge of program evaluation. This course counts toward the doctoral requirement for courses that contribute to increasing the depth and breadth of understanding of educational issues within a qualitative and quantitative research methods framework, and it is one of the courses in the policy analysis concentration area. The course requirements are: we will meet once a week for 3 hours. Since we expect to develop understandings together, attendance at these classes is required of all students. Students are also expected to read all the readings for the courses. As the list of readings indicates, there are numerous readings of various lengths that are required for each class. Students are required to present various books reviews, policy alignment, policy enhancement, and policy drafting, presentation of existing policy paper in your own institution, etc. in the class using an online method. In addition, students are expected to participate in class discussions and to complete a series of papers in a timely manner. No late papers will be accepted. Students are expected to submit reaction papers in each of the students' presentation to be submitted in the established Google Classroom for Ed 707 Ed 707 due every Friday 12 midnight. That is the Google link below. Okay. Students are required to upload actual or modified videos on policy in education and participate in the promotion of the degree program requirements and courses requirements through subscription of 25 to 50, sharing of 100 to 200, and watching 5 to 6 hours to be uploaded in the class YouTube channel of the professor for proper monitoring. And the links below. And we will be always looking at whether our work can have broader dissemination. The paper requirements are: Paper 1. The first paper requires you to submit a proposal for an analysis of an existing policy you will evaluate this term. This proposal should describe the policy as stated in existing documents, cite the documents, and include links to websites if available. B. The problem your policy analysis was created to address, and the objectives or purposes of your policy analysis or program evaluation. Paper 2. In the second paper, I am asking you to describe in detail the history and social context of the policy you will analyze. This paper should describe: A. How did the policy came to be? What was happening locally and globally at the time that made it necessary for the policy to originate? What are the social and political contexts in which the policy is operating? How effectively or not has this policy addressed the problem so far according to the research available? And what changes or adjustment have been made to the original policy? Paper 3. In the third paper, I am asking you also to describe the theory in action of the policy you are analyzing. In other words, how is the policy expected to work? The fourth paper, in the fourth paper, I am asking you to describe your perspective or theoretical framework, the sociology, the economics, the globalization, the organizational, the comparative you will use for your policy analysis. The fifth paper, I am asking you to describe the methods and modes of inquiry you will use for your analysis and the data sources you will use for evidence to support your analysis. Please note that if you do not have empirical data, your source of data is your list of annotated references. Consequently, include an annotated list of references. The paper 6, I am also asking you to describe your results, including the challenges to goal attainment and the possible alternatives to the current policy that you may find mentioned in the literature. Discuss whether these alternatives or recommendations make sense to you. What alternative approaches or gaps in process would need to be considered first for such a policy to be successful in achieving its goals. Paper 7. I am also asking you to describe your conclusions, including the scientific or scholarly significance of your policy analysis or your study. And finally, a final paper integrating the information collected throughout the semester via the short papers in 25 to 30 pages, single space. And the final grades in the class will be determined as follows. Class participation is 25%. Papers, that is the 1 to 7, including the output to be submitted in the Google Classroom, that is 35%. The final paper, output to be submitted in the Google Classroom also is 30%. And of course, the final examination is 10%. The reading resources you will be using as Mentext, the online sources known as Everybody Reads Strategy or On Your Own Strategy. With that, thank you for watching and keep watching, subscribing, and sharing. More videos are to be uploaded. Thank you very much for listening and happy holiday.